All right, thank you guys. I am feeling great on a Saturday morning because we went 4-1 in our 5 premium sports picks on BrockPage.com yesterday. And if you want to join in on the fun and see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at BrockPage.com. We're currently hitting at 71% in our last 21 NBA tier package picks on BrockPage.com. And the good news is, if you sign up for my NBA tier package pick here today, you're going to get full access to that package all the way through the end of December for just the one-time fee of $24.99. So if you sign up today for that package, it literally works out to be just 84 cents a day. Now, we currently have over 875 members who are signed up and active on that site. And once again, guys, if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at BrockPage.com. The Magic take on the Clippers here today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time. LA's minus 8.5, totals 212. And although I typically lean toward the Clippers in this particular spot here, they are going to work here today without the efforts of Paul George. He's out with an elbow. Now, Batum has also been ruled as doubtful, and Preston is out. And even, when they're relatively healthy, the Clippers are still averaging only 106 points a game on their home court. Now, equally as bad, the Clippers are currently in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding, and they're covering just 41% of their home games. Now, they're taking on an Orlando squad who successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 5. And that includes an outright victory over Denver, where they actually held the Nuggets to just 103 total points. Orlando's also covering in 50% of their road games this year, so as much as they've struggled this year, pretty much a coin flip for them to cover the number when traveling. Now, Cole Anthony's averaging over 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Franz Wagner scoring nearly 14 points a night himself, along with 4 boards, couple assists. Orlando's in the top 3 in the association in fourth quarter scoring on the road. When it comes to the injury report, Moore and Carter Williams are both still out. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, George and Preston are out for them. Batum is doubtful. When it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of the Clippers' last 6 got over the posted number. Meanwhile, the Magic's 10-6 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward Orlando plus 8.5, over 212. Next game, Jazz Wizards, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Utah's minus 5.5, totals 220. The Jazz are on a 6-game winning streak. They're currently the league leaders in defensive rebounding per contest. The Jazz allow just 102 points a game when traveling, and they're holding their opponents to just 30% shooting from 3 land in that same category. Now, scoring-wise, Donovan Mitchell's averaging over 24.5 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for Don. Meanwhile, Bojan Bogdanovic is drilling 40% of his three-pointers himself, 16 points a night and 3 boards for Bogey. The Jazz are currently winning 75% of their road games. They're currently first in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They're taking on a Washington team who lost 3 out of their last 4 ball games. And they've been real bad against the point spread here recently. As a matter of fact, the Wizards failed to cover the number in 8 out of their last 10 ball games. And they're shooting just 32% from beyond the arc this year. Now, the Wizards are also in the bottom 10 in the league in scoring. They're averaging just 106 points a game. When it comes to the injury report, Thomas Bryant is out with a knee today. And total-wise, Washington is 6-5 to the under at home, 15-11 to the under at any location. Meanwhile, Utah is 7-5 to the under when traveling. Give me the Jazz minus 5.5, under 220. Next game, Kings, Cavaliers, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus 6.5, totals 222. But as good as the Cavaliers have been against the number here recently, they still have a losing record at home. The Cavs are scoring just 103 points a game at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and they're in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding there. Meanwhile, defensively, as good as they've been, they do tend to break down late in games. They're in the bottom 10 in fourth quarter points allowed. They're taking on a Sacramento team who won 3 out of their last 4 themselves. 115 points a game they average when they travel. The Kings also have a winning record against the spread on the road. De'Aaron Fox is scoring 21 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Harrison Barnes is drilling nearly 41% of his three-pointers, 18 points a night and 7 rebounds for Barnes. The Kings are in the top 3 in the NBA in road scoring. Meanwhile, defensively, they're holding their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc away from home. Now, total-wise, Sacramento's seen contests with the Clippers, Lakers, and Sixers recently stay under the posted number. Meanwhile, Cleveland's 9-4 to the under at home, 16-11 to the under at any location. I'm going to lean towards Sacramento plus 6.5, under 222. Next ball game, Rockets, Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Memphis is -8, totals 220.5. The Grizzlies got the W in 6 out of their last 7 ball games, 6-1 against the spread during that stretch. Memphis currently has a .600 win percentage at home. And they're also covering in 60% of those home games. Dylan Brooks is scoring over 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, couple assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Jaren Jackson is scoring 16.5 points a game himself, along with 5 rebounds. Memphis is currently in the top 5 in home scoring, top 3 in home offensive rebounding. They're taking on a Houston club who's a pitiful 1-11 straight up on the road this year. I know they've been red hot lately, but they are terrible when traveling once again. 1-11 straight up on the road. Now, not only are the Rockets still 11 games below 500, but they're also dead last in shooting from the foul line. Really not making their opponents pay when they put them to the stripe. Houston scoring just 101 points a game on the road, and they're making only 31% of their three-pointers in that same category. Now, injury-wise, House and Porter are questionable for Houston. Meanwhile, for Memphis, Brooks, Clark, Merrill, and Williams, they are out for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Memphis is 60% to the over on their home court. Meanwhile, the Rockets saw 4 out of their last 5 get over the number themselves, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward Memphis -8, over 220.5. Next matchup, Bulls, Heat, 8 o'clock East. Miami's -1, totals 211. The Heat's going to work here tonight without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Duncan Robinson is questionable to play as well. The Heat's gone just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. And they're currently in the bottom 3 in home offensive rebounding. Now defensively on the other end of the court, they're also struggling to slow down the 3 ball. Miami's in the bottom 10 in home defensive 3-point percentage. They're taking on a Chicago club who shoots the basketball quite well. As a matter of fact, Chicago is currently leading the NBA in offensive field goal percentage on the road. They're also first in the association in road shooting from the stripe. Zach LaVine's averaging 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Nick Vucevic is scoring 15 points a game himself, 10 boards, 3 assists for the big man. Chicago's got a .642 win percentage when traveling this season. They're also successfully covering the point. They're successfully covering the point spread in 64% of their road games. And when it comes to defensive play here, the Bulls are allowing just 105 points a game away from home. Now, injury-wise, DeRozan, Jones, White, and Green are out. Caruso is questionable. Meanwhile, for Miami, once again, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, they are both out for them. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Miami's last 2 straight fell under the number, 6-5 to the under on their home court. Meanwhile, Chicago's 8-6 to the under on the road, 15-11 to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Chicago +1, under 211. Next matchup, Nuggets Spurs, 8:30 Eastern tip-off. Denver's -1, totals 218.5. But despite being the slight favorite in this one, Denver's lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games, 30% against the number during that span. Now, Denver's winning just 35% of their road games. They also went 5-9 against the spread in those contests. The Nuggets are a league worst in offensive rebounding. They're also averaging just 104 points per contest. Now, defensively, Denver's in the bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage when traveling. They're taking on a Spurs team who scores a lot of points in the AT&T Center. San Antonio's in the top 5 in home scoring, top 3 in home offensive field goal percentage. DeJounte Murray scoring over 18.5 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8.5 assists for Murray. Meanwhile, Derek White is scoring 13 points per contest himself, 3 boards, 5 assists for White. San Antonio's in the top 5 in home offensive three-point percentage, top 10 in home offensive rebounding. Collins is still out. Johnson is probable. Meanwhile, for Denver, Rivers is out. Barton is questionable. Denver's last 2 straight got over the number, 9-1 at the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Spurs are 11-1 at the over on their home court. Give me San Antonio +1, over 218.5. Next and final matchup, Warriors-Sixers, 8:30 p.m. Eastern start time. Golden State's -2.5, totals 213. The Warriors won 8 out of their last 10 ball games, 70% against the number during that stretch. The Warriors also won 7 out of their last 9 road games. And they lead the NBA in fewest road points allowed. Golden State is giving up just 101 points a night when they travel. They're holding their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc. Now, scoring-wise, Steph Curry is averaging 27.5 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for the NBA champ. Curry's also drilling nearly 42% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins is 42% from three-land himself, 18 points a game and 4 boards for the forward. Golden State's in the top 3 in scoring, top 3 in offensive rebounding. They're taking on a Philadelphia team who failed to cover in their last 3 straight, 2-6 against the spread in their last 8. Embiid and Maxey are both questionable for tonight's contest. The Sixers have a losing record at the Wells Fargo Center. They successfully covered the point spread in just 27% of those home games. Philadelphia is also the worst rebounding team in the NBA at home. They're dead last in the association in offensive and defensive rebounding on their home court. Now, total-wise, Philly's last 2 straight fell under the number, 7-2 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, the Warriors went 7-1 to the under in their last 8 ball games themselves, 72% to the under for the entire year. I'm going to lean toward Golden State -2.5, under 213. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are hitting at 71% in our last 21 NBA tier package picks. I like Orlando +8.5, over 212. Utah -5.5, under 220. Sacramento +6.5, under 222. Memphis -8, over 220 and a hook. Chicago +1, under 211. San Antonio +1, over 28. San Antonio +1, over 218.5. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, spit it out, Brock. Sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of his mouth. Anyway, let's try that line again. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 71% in our last 21 NBA tier package picks on brockpage.com. Give me Golden State -2.5, under 213. And now it's time for our shout out of the day, and that's going to go to Comic Kish, who said earlier this morning, Brock is the realist. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're going to get access to that content, to those picks, all the way through the end of December. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. Once again, guys, if you sign up for my NBA tier, it's a one-time fee of $24.99. You're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of December. It basically works out to, I think I said, 84 cents a day. Extremely just incredible value for just a lot of great content, great picks. But we also have a board member tier package, and our board members, they get access to every single pick that I give out on that website all the way through the end of December as well. So anyway, guys, most importantly, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.